Well, it has Killer Sofa and Boldlands and Ina.
Yay!
So we're on the right page.
Yep.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
Ah.
The Dorkening and all affiliated shows are not intended for anyone under the age of 18. The following may contain discussions or scenes that have adult situations, graphic violence, nudity, strong sexual content, and graphic language. This show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hi, this is Bernie Rao, director of Killer Sofa, and you're watching the Howl Light Network.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's to get ourselves a treat.
Hello and welcome to the first ever Allied Picture Show. This is our show about the film industry, just in general. Hey, Tom Dog, how's it going? This is something we've been wanting to do for months now, and we finally got our shit together and found an amazing guest to make it special. We got Bernie Rao. We're going to be talking to you later. Now, we did have to pre-record his because he's in another country with like a 5-hour difference, so it's one of those rare pre-recorded moments that we'll have halfway through the show. So. With me, as always, are these assholes. we have Friday, except for, okay, so the assholes Ron and Necro, because, Friday's a saint, and, she gets her own category.
Thank you.
I would like to think
Saint
of
Friday.
myself as a bleached asshole. Thank you very much.
You know what? That's what does it for you.
And I do
I'm
recommend
the bald asshole.
cinnamon. I recommend Cinnabon creamer to go with your Deadly Grounds coffee. It is awesome.
Is it to die for?
It is totally to die for. That is why it's down to here since we started earlier.
That's why she's in a cemetery right now, just in case.
Oh, yeah. So I got some film gear on today. I got these from Whorehound. I've got my The Stuff hat. First time I've ever actually seen this movie represented on merchandise ever, and I just had to have it. And then I got this amazing limited edition, only 50 of these were made, t-shirts. So that's Heather from the Blair Witch, and we'll keep going up here and up. I guess over here.
Oh, hey.
Yeah. Only 50 of these were made to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the Blair Witch Project, and in a rare turn of events, the entire cast was present, and they have not been together in public promoting the movie for many, many years, and maybe never will do it again unless they're alive still for the 50th, and even then they may not. So it was a really cool experience. I got to talk to them some, and some of that, it didn't make it into our Horror Hound footage because honestly, a lot of them didn't really want anything to do with promoting it at all. They were, there as a favor, and they've all, at least Josh and Heather, they've moved on with their lives and are doing very different things, and they don't even want to have anything to do with film or like podcasts or interviews, and I can't blame them. They went through crazy shit. I actually found out a lot of things that I thought were true about the filming process weren't, which made me love it even more. But I did get to sit in on for 20 minutes of the important part of the panel that will make it into the Horror Hound special episode we're doing in 2 weeks. So there's some really cool shit in there that I think you guys are gonna like. But yeah,
I'm curious.
Yeah, very cool shit, man. And Ron just is over there getting eaten by a killer sofa.
I am.
Yeah.
Look at my head over here, like chomping down on the bald guy.
Honestly, getting Bernie is really exciting because I thought it was our first episode, but it was our second episode of Tomb of the Terrible that we actually got to do the movie. And to have that as our, our first guest is based on the episode we did back then. And then you and Del had done the, the beer and the beer and movie podcast where you guys had done it previously, right?
Yes, the Movies and Beer podcast.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm so tired.
Couple of
You'll
that's
find-
fine. That's fine.
You'll randomly find links to different episodes if you scroll through the Owlite page. And make sure to share.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. It was a movie that I initially was just, my health was starting to go under, and I was stuck at home just watching movies, listening to music, that kind of thing. And I saw the picture on Amazon for Killer Sofa, and then I thought I must watch this, and then I watched it, and then I immediately got a hold of Del and said, "You must watch this, and we must talk about this on my podcast, you and I." And so we did. It was amazeballs.
Oh yeah. I love this movie. It's so much fun. Like, I don't want to talk about it too much because we talk about it a lot during the interview,
Mhm.
but suffice to say, if you guys have seen Killer Sofa, you're going to want to see this interview. This might be one of the more expensive ones he's actually ever done. From when I was looking up, like interviews and stuff he's done, which are few and far between, I didn't see any that ran an hour and 8 minutes. So, like, you guys are going to get a lot of inside stuff, a lot of really cool stuff about the film. I just get to see, like, just Bernie's straight up passion for not just Killer Sofa, but for the industry, like for the film industry. Like, you don't meet too many people as passionate as him, and you'll see it later. One of the things I want to talk about right off the bat is what, we talked about what this show is, and it's now, why are we doing a show about film? To which I respond, why shouldn't we do a show about film? I've been in the film industry for decades, returning this year. We're all returning, well, you guys are entering and I'm returning this year to the film industry. And with all the people that I've met over the years, it's a shame to let all those fantastic guests go to waste. The last time I spoke to a lot of them were back when I still did Twisted Geekdom. So I'm going to get a chance to reach out to some of the people I interviewed then, all new people. And, it's all about the film love here. Like, we talk about so many other things. I think the only thing we don't touch is comic books because Splash Pages has got that hands down. And, I don't think we could do as good a job as they do covering comics. So, but we have everything. I think we have everything else now officially just about covered.
Right. I mean,
including writing our own stories.
Yeah.
I mean, we already talk about cinema kind of on the Tomb of the Terrible anyway, so
We do.
why not branch out?
And it's cool because, like, we got the two writing shows. We've got Clutch and we've got Unprinted Pages, two shows about, the writing industry that the shows are completely different from each other. So you see a lot of different aspects of things. That's kind of what we're doing here, too, with Picture Show and Tomb. Tomb, we're watching movies and talking about it. But this is like an industry chat show almost, like, Picture Show, where we're actually bringing in different people from the industry. I'm sure we'll have, multiple guests on at the same time for some shows. We'll do some special things like, who knows what we're going to do. I don't know what we're going to do until we do it. But we should also take a moment to talk about what got us into film and why we're so passionate about it. I'm going to give you the quick version because I've talked about this so many times. My mom, was really into special effects and stuff when I was growing up, brought me in to, see how things kind of worked on sets. I fell in love with it. She taught me how to make my first severed head by the time I was 9, which led to both the film industry and haunting kind of equally. But the reason why I love doing Tomb with UncleNecRo so much and why I wanted to do this show was because the biggest bond my family and I had was literally B-film, specifically B-film. And it all kind of kicked off with us getting into Mystery Science Theater 3000 and then realizing it wasn't on often enough. So we had to do our own version. So we spent a lot of time just going to video stores and like we would rent movies at first just based on its artwork. That's how it kind of started, no matter whether it was good or bad. And then we realized we were getting too many good movies in the mix. So then we looked at artwork and then we scanned the back and thought, what is the most ridiculous movie we can find to watch right now? So getting to do that with you guys on Tomb and then actually like talking to the filmmakers that make some of these things here it's like the complete package for me, man. It's amazing. What about you, Jenny? What got you into indie film?
Indie film?
Well, I mean, B-film, it's all indie and independent level.
Well, whenever I was growing up, I loved watching and reading and finding new things. my favorite thing was to find the weirdest movies I could find or the oddest or anything and just watch them because they were different. And then as I grew up, I found out that my dad was like, "Okay, pick any movie. It's your choice this time around." And then I'd just pick random movies, anywhere from Star Wars to Killer Tongue, and we'd just watch it and we'd talk about it and we'd have fun and just it like you had become a family thing, and it's something I don't have with them anymore because mom and dad have passed away. So now I get to do it with you guys and Josh and sometimes the kids, depending on the type of movie we're watching. And it's the thing I don't ever want to get out of because I can learn so much from the different people here I do the shows with and are going to meet later on this series.
Oh yeah. What about you, Ron? What got you into it?
I am a child of the golden era of kung fu movies with Shaw Brothers. I grew up in the 80s and 90s when a lot of movies were coming out of Hong Kong with Cynthia Rothrock and Don the Dragon Wilson, Benny Urquidez, etc., so on. Being a martial artist myself at that time, I always wanted to be a martial arts stuntman in a movie. Didn't necessarily have to be a martial arts movie per se, but I just wanted to be in a fight scene, and get beat up by the good guy and get thrown off of something and land in one of those big mattresses and all of that. And I never really had the opportunity. Then when I went to college, I'm always around other independent filmmakers, and they're making like these 24-hour film festival movies. And every now and then I would get the opportunity to help out with one of those. It really kind of came to fruition when I went to grad school at the University of South Florida, and a lot because I majored in mass media broadcasting, like news broadcasting. So I was constantly around people that had cameras and were making their independent movies and all of that. So I just have always kind of wanted to be around it, kind of been around it, and I've just never really had the opportunity to do it myself. So I don't. It's just one of those things where when you're around the indie filmmakers for so often, and they start talking about other indie films, and you get curious about it, and you want to see those movies, and you want to go to the film festivals, and it's a lot of fun. So
Hey, Amina.
that's why.
Oh yeah, man. Over to you, Uncle Necro.
Well, as for me, being prime Generation X here, I started getting into movies. Basically, when I started getting into movies, this little thing called HBO was just starting out.
Hey, Troy.
And hi there, and I would not only that, but I would go to movies frequently with my grandparents and my parents. I remember watching the 1982 Annie movie in the theater at a very young age. But I would also catch like there was movies such as The Black Hole, or the 1980 Flash Gordon movie, or Star Trek. Star Trek was a big one, but HBO helped to really form my love of cinema at a very young age. But then later on in the early 80s, video stores started popping up, the mom and pop stores.
Oh yeah.
We would take trips into Fremont, and even in my small town, I believe Del brought this up, but some of the gas stations started selling videotapes, and a couple of them would rent out the VHS players for us to rent for over the weekend. And then the VHS tapes became a little more ubiquitous as time went on. At one point, my mom actually, I'm pretty sure she owned all of the Elvis movies that were ever made.
My mom owned like most of them.
Right. Even the bad ones that came later. So, I mean, they were all kind of cheesy in their own way. But yeah, but I think the biggest turnaround though was when I was like 13, 14, and my mom let me and my sister pick out a videotape at the it was an applause video. This was long before Blockbuster became a thing, but we both decided because of the cover we are going to rent Evil Dead 2. And our lives were changed, like for the better, I think. And from then on, I discovered MST3K, and I met and became fast friends with people who were really into the B movies and just cinema in general, be it really high art, good films, quote unquote good films, and also just really schlocky, really entertaining stuff too. So, over time that has never really gone away. And like I said, I started Tomb of the Terrible with you guys. It was kind of an offshoot of the Movies and Beer podcast, but I started doing that because for years after watching a movie with my friends, we would go to the pub and discuss the movie. And I'm thinking, why aren't we recording this? I was starting to delve into podcasts and stuff. So just got a Zoom kind of recorder.
Yeah.
So we could bring into the pub, that kind of thing, and just, record everybody talking about it, whether good, bad, ugly, that kind of thing. And Tomb of the Terrible, like I said, was a spinoff of it, and I imported it to here because you guys love watching it too. Mm-hmm. Or sometimes you haven't seen it, and when you see it, you want to kill me, I know. But,
So far, we've not done a movie I haven't seen. So far. I'm sure it's going to happen, but so far, yeah.
I have to rewatch this upcoming for tomorrow, The Mandy the Haunted Doll. So
I really don't want to have to watch that again, but I guess we can get into that tomorrow.
It's on YouTube, so you can watch it in a little bit faster, so you can just zoom right through.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to make it tomorrow, but I still watched it anyway recently, just out of solidarity with you guys. So, when I watch the episode while it's playing, while I'm doing what I need to do, I can just be like, yeah, that fucking scene, man. I hadn't seen that one in a while. It had been a while since I've seen that one. Arsenic and Old Lace. Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
That's epic, man. But yeah, the days of, VHS rentals, man, that was a golden age for folks, especially when, a lot of things just started flooding the VHS market that were never even in theaters. And that's where the money was. Like, that was where, like, the video stores stood out, because we had Video Town, which is what eventually got bought out over here and turned into a Blockbuster. But our local gem was Carrie's Video. It was not a franchise. It was mom and pop. And they had the biggest of all of the, like, just the sci-fi fantasy horror section there was fucking enormous. They were also the same company that had one room that was mostly all just artwork and cardboard cutouts for that section. Like, it had its own little room because there were just so many cool cutouts and so many posters. They couldn't fit it all if they wanted to carry that big of a selection, so that it was like the art was like right across from that section.
Yeah, we had a Blockbuster Video as well, but there was also a smaller mom and pop video store called Family Video.
We had Family
too. You find all the commercial videos in Blockbuster and whatnot, but if you want more of the B type movies and the harder to find videos, you go to Family Video.
Yep, Family popped up about 2 or 3 years after Carrie's went under. But even then, we still had Showcase Video, we had Blockbuster, we had Hollywood Video. There was like 5 other mom and pop video stores as well, but they were just kind of like a lot smaller and more basic. And some of them were like more family oriented stores. So like you really can find a lot of the cool stuff in there.
I believe Jenny has a...
Yes.
The last VHS was made in 2006. That's when they stopped making those.
Did you know that's actually incorrect? That's when they stopped mass producing them, but the indie film world took over the production of VHSs, and even today, VHSs are still being made, just only at the indie level.
Okay.
I suppose it's kind of like vinyl records.
Yeah.
You get them made for collectible items, and people will do the same thing for
Right.
VHS tapes.
The Frogman
Yeah.
movie that Pyle and I watched a couple weeks back, or however long ago that was, you could go to their table. They weren't selling DVDs. They were selling only Blu-rays and VHSs. They didn't make DVD. Just either get this or get that. And we're just like,
Wow.
okay, that's cool. That's cool. But I'm seeing a lot of people going VHS again lately. In the indie
Raise your
world.
hand if you still have a VCR.
I don't even have a DVD player, man.
Yeah, same.
I got a computer and a PlayStation.
But in the 80s, our family, when we started renting, we would favor the stores that sold popcorn or just gave it away.
Oh yeah. You had to get your snacks, dude. Like I remember, we have a grocery store called Meijer. It's kind of an offshoot of down south. It's called Publix. Well, down southeast, I guess. But yeah, it's like Publix. But their candy aisle was bigger than any other grocery store in the area, and their candy section was like 4 aisles, and 2 of the aisles were these enormous aisles with bins that had the scoops and stuff.
Ooh.
So we would not even get stuff from the video store at that point. All the stores were right near each other, so we would just go there and go up and down those aisles. Like, oh, here's the popcorn. Here's 20 fucking things of candy in bags. It was so cheap that it didn't really matter. Oh, that's very cool.
Awesome.
Hell yeah, man.
Wow.
Amita owns the silver, the gold, and the black box on VHS of Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
Each of them different.
Yep.
Still a video in here. I don't know what it's of though.
Plug
I don't know. There's
it in and hit eject, Ron.
Yeah, I know, right? That's crazy. I'll work with that later.
And not even just video stores. Another big win was second run and indie art house theaters. Like they're referred to as Flicker Palaces is what they're referred to in the industry. We actually had a Flicker Palace that was named Flicker Palace, and we went there. Like we had 2 little theaters like that, but that's the one we tend to go to the most. It got turned into I don't know what. It's been like 20,000 things since then. And then the other one we had the Page Manor Theater burnt down. So like we had these cool places where they would also show movies that were never out in theaters. They did the second run stuff. I saw Spaceballs there, all kinds of cool stuff there. But the last on Wednesdays they would have a double feature for $5, and $5 would get you a drink, a small popcorn, and 2 movies. And me and my grandma together, just the 2 of us, that was our thing. We would go, and the last double feature they ever did was we were talking about The Crow earlier, was when The Crow came out. So it was the second run of The Crow and The Cowboy's Way with Woody Harrelson and Kiefer Sutherland back to back. So her and I, we sat there. We watched both movies. We had our popcorn and our drinks, and then a couple weeks later, the theater closed. And we did that right up until the end, though.
Thank you for referencing The Cowboy Way.
I love that movie.
Because I keep saying this movie existed, and nobody believes me.
I've seen that movie like a million times.
Yeah, the movie they're at the restaurant. How do you want your steak? Just knock its horns off and put it on the.
Yeah.
Like, okay, yeah.
So he's flirting with the cellist with the beer bottle on his
drink. Run a match under it and slap it on a plate.
Yep. Oh yeah, dude.
You
little
make
theaters
Chief
like that.
happy, Chief.
Oh yeah, little theaters like that were just as important as the video stores. Like this is how we found cool shit, and then it was DVD, and then everything was direct to DVD. But like then you could also know people, just like you would have to know people back in the day to get like Faces of Death on VHS before they actually started putting it into the video stores. Like DVDs are the same way. Like you can, if you knew a guy that knew a guy, you could get a shit ton of DVDs that like were either not released in America yet or were ever going to be, or just all kinds of crazy stuff. Yeah. Hell, I think going back to VHS again, the first time I saw hardcore wrestling in Japan was literally because of ICP. Got together, they took all this footage from New Japan, like all these different federations and stuff in Japan, and put together a wrestling thing with them like pretending to do like the promo stuff for the wrestlers. And that was the first time I ever got to see Mick Foley wrestle as Cactus Jack. The very first time ever as a kid was because of the Insane Clown Posse making that tape, which wasn't in stores. You had to know someone that knew someone that had a copy of it that they could make you a copy of, and that was the
Well,
only way to see shit.
Netflix first started out as a mail order DVD company.
I remember that.
everything
Yep.
went to streaming.
Yeah.
I got shit from them all the time in the mail.
Well, I believe that Blockbuster also kind of got into that racket as
They did.
well.
But they didn't do it as well, and
Yeah,
they
I
lost
know.
their ass.
Yeah. Yeah, Netflix, I would rent DVDs all the time.
Mhm.
And what I would do is when I started doing that, I finally got a computer that could rip DVDs.
That's honestly, that's what everybody did. Yeah,
Right.
even video stores. Like I worked for so many video stores growing up, and it was like, oh, you can rent X amount of movies for free this week, and I'm like, oh, really?
Well, that's how a lot of DVDs got made. First was people converting the VHS over into DVD format.
Yep, we had one of those machines at the house, dude. You know, all the family home videos, and became a wait a minute, I don't want to buy this again.
Well, once I figured out how to do a DivX file, I mean,
Yeah, then it was all over me.
all over. So
But it's really cool. Like you find this movie that was like a rare print, and you get a chance to copy it, you know, or whatever. But like you would also use that to take it to people like, hey, dude, I found this movie. You're gonna love it. Here's your copy. Like, I mean, we did that with CDs too, but like, you know, making mixes for people on cassettes, and then we switched that over to CDs there for a while. But like, there was nothing like just being out with friends, like, hey man, I brought you this DVD today. Like, you've never seen these movies, like, but they're you, and they made me think of you, so here they are. It was just this weird, you know, like everybody had it, obviously. It wasn't just a me thing, but like it was just such a cool underground thing with films for a while. And like the more rare and like weird they were, the more fun it was to just find them somewhere online or wherever and like make copies. So many movies were never switched over to DVD or Blu-ray or even digital, and never will.
oh yeah.
I love Johnny Mnemonic. I still love that
LimeWire.
movie.
Yes.
Yep,
LimeWire.
LimeWire, and also Napster bad.
Because
Because
Huzzah, yeah.
Kaza, ooh.
And then it was all about the Pirate Bay until
Hmm.
that just got out of hand with viruses and shit. And now if you want to do that stuff, you have to actually get invited to private servers for that. And it's really
Mhm.
hard these days to find sources where you're not going to get 50,000 viruses and, you know, lose your internet because your internet company's like, oh no, you can't do this.
no, I mean, you
well,
really don't need to, because
You don't need, yeah, you
everything's
don't.
on
You
streaming
really don't need
service
to anymore.
somewhere. So
I mean, since Dell introduced me to like F movies, everything's on there.
Yep.
So
I do have a rule though, like, so if it's a big Hollywood movie, I'm gonna pay for it one way or another, regardless. So there's just so many fucking movies out. So if I grab one these days, it's never indie. Like when I was younger, I was stupid, but like I won't grab anything and make copies or anything if it's like an indie movie. That there's just too much. There's too much on the line for indie filmmakers, man, and I really absolutely hate it.
Mhm.
When people are like, oh, I just got this movie from this indie company, and then the company goes under. One of my favorite movies of all time, Digging Up Tomorrow, Ariscope Pictures, Adam Green, which I got a signed script of that movie and had a whole like half an hour hangout with Adam. But he couldn't make the sequel because as soon as the movie came out, people pirated it so hard that they almost lost money on it. And then the studio that was helping them release it didn't want the sequel because they didn't make as much money as they should have on the first one because of all the pirating. And there's a lot of cases like that. And you would think, oh, you know, Ariscope is huge. They did Hatchet. They did this. They did that. Man, Digging Up Tomorrow was one of their older ones, along with Frozen. Not the Disney Frozen, but, you know, the horror movie Frozen.
Right.
The Digging Up Tomorrow and Frozen were you know, they were little indie pictures. And it was because of those movies they were really able to run crazy and, like, really do Hatchet. And when you're starting out, man, to have someone just pirate your shit so hard that now no one wants a sequel or no one wants to follow up to this or that, or this particular, you know, release company doesn't even want to work with you anymore because your movie didn't do well. It breaks my heart to see that shit. So I'd never, ever, ever touch anything indie unless I'm buying it from that person directly. I don't even buy them at the stores. Like shit like that, I will go to the filmmaker's website and I will just straight up buy it through them so they get every penny of it.
well, people gave Lars Ulrich a hard time because of the whole Napster thing, but maybe he was onto something.
Well,
I mean,
the way I see it, I usually try to find it on the legitimate sites that are streaming,
oh
like
yeah,
Max or you know some other place. Then maybe try to find if I'm going to do a review, I'll try and find it on Tubi has a lot of our
Tubi
movies
is
we
so
talk
good.
about. It's fantastic, or I'll borrow maybe a friend's subscription to say Hulu or
Yeah.
Netflix, that kind of thing.
Yep.
If I'm extremely desperate, maybe I'll try to find it on one of the download sites, but that's very, very rare. And I usually try to make sure that I advertise it so at least they'll get some money.
Yeah, they'll get people talking about yeah.
You know,
I'll download like dead films, like movies that are cuts of movies that don't exist out in the world that are never going to make it back out into the world that no one's making money on. Like
right.
that's typically what I'll go and grab if I'm going to grab something like that from that angle of things, for sure. I've had to do that a couple times, like in the last few months, actually, because there were just cuts and versions of things that just did not exist anywhere, that no one had, that no one was going to do anything with. I'm like, well, I really want to see this.
Well, physical media seems to be going the way of the buffalo now.
Yeah.
Yes and no. Here's the weird thing about it. It was really going that direction until certain companies started losing their licenses to stream certain movies, and companies that you're buying the movie from.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been such a thing in the last year. Like post-COVID, there have been multiple big companies that have just lost the rights to have like, you can buy movies on Xbox. There have been some movies people have bought through Xbox that they no longer can watch anymore, even though they paid for them, because Xbox can't legally let you stream this movie through their service anymore. It's happened with PlayStation. It's happened with a lot of services.
I've heard about that where they came out with a statement. Just because you bought it doesn't mean you own it, and people are buying stuff and it's supposed to stay in their stream library, but stuff is disappearing from their stream library that they purchased, and people are getting upset about that. And like, oh, well, just because you bought it doesn't mean you own it.
Right.
I believe Sony did that in the beginning of the aughts with their CDs.
Yeah. Yep. The whole Sony digital push thing that they did. Yep. And so now, indie filmmakers, it's still all about the physical. It's still very much, if you're into indie films, yeah, you can see a lot on Tubi, but there's a million things you can't find in normal places. So you have to go to a convention and meet these people to find out about the movie and buy a copy while you're there. Like, there's still a lot of physical media. Like, I cannot tell you how many tens of thousands of DVDs I saw being bought and sold, like at the convention. You do all conventions. But I think we're getting back towards people are kind of freaking out about the fact that they don't own their media now. So, the only way to really own your media right now is if, okay, you get it digitally, you better rip it on your computer as well. And then put that on a hard drive, for safekeeping, a zip, something. And I mean, even then that can be damaged and lost, but so can a disc. You can break a disc. Yeah. You know what I mean? But if anything, it's more protected than, physical media to have it downloaded and put into a hard drive.
Yeah, if it keeps going that way, people will go back to start buying physical stuff, the CDs, the DVDs, etc. Just because at least that's something physical they can't take away.
Exactly, and that there's been a big push about that, and a lot of people freaking out, and so like I said, a lot of people are back to buying physical media, or doing digital copies of their digital copies, so that way they can slap it on their hard drive and keep it forever.
Didn't Shudder kind of do we have the original movies that are playing on our streaming site, but we're also releasing it on DVD too.
Yeah, for their Shudder original stuff. Yeah, they also print physical media copies of their Shudder originals. You can get them at cons, you can get them in their store. It's a big deal. And them doing that also led to other people doing it, and other there's just so much shit. And plus, you've got companies like Vinegar Syndrome. You got companies like Shout Factory is a big one, where they go and get dead movies that have never had these versions put back out, and they're restoring and remastering and doing these beautiful fucking things that you can't do with digital.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
This part is true because Vudu just became part of Fandango, and I got some stuff back I thought I lost forever, but also just the whole change. What are they actually doing type of thing?
Well, actually, so they sold to Fandango years ago. They've been connected for years. but they just finally changed the branding name of Voodoo to Fandango now. But they've been connected for years.
Amina brings up a good point in what she just said about the rising cost of streaming services, and that's the thing. Everything is going to a subscription fee now. You know, I'm paying for Netflix, I'm paying for Hulu, I'm paying for Disney Plus, I'm paying for Amazon. You know, I've got all of these. I've even got Shudder. I'm paying for all of this stuff, and then the question is, am I actually watching them enough to justify paying for it? And the honest answer to that question is no, I'm not really. Which ones do I watch the most? Netflix and Amazon. But every now and then something will come on one of the other ones that I want to see, and then I end up having to repay the subscription fee just so I can watch that movie. And I'm like, well,
it's all about the bundling, man. Like you can do if you're I'm a student, so I get discounts on some of the services. So like I think Peacock, I pay it $1.99 a month. No. Actually, no. Right now, I'm paying 99 cents a month for the next year.
I'm not a
Hulu
student,
and
I don't have that luxury.
Right, Spotify, Disney, and Hulu have a bundle, like a normal bundle. I've got the college bundle, so it's even cheaper. But like their bundle of all three is like, it's like the price of one of them. You get three. But like we do this thing where we have subscription roulette. Like if we've seen everything on it, like Max is the most expensive. I like Max sometimes, but I can catch up with everything in like a week. It's new on Max, so we'll start another email to get a 7-day trial and watch everything and then, cancel it. Which a lot of companies are cutting down on that now too because of people like me.
Well, it looks like I'm going back to school, boys.
Yeah, right.
It's worth it. All the money you can save on shit. I'm dead serious about that.
But it's with ads. That's another thing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Prime is
I mean, you're paying.
Too.
You're paying for it. You shouldn't need the ads.
Well, here's the thing, though. Like, they started doing that to have a cheaper subscription option for people. Like, you can still get all the versions with ads. They're a little bit more expensive, but if you just want to, to have the services, it works. And some of them, like Hulu, I noticed often. Disney with ads does this, where if you watch this before your show or movie, we won't break in at all and interrupt you during it. A lot of the services are doing stuff like that, so you still have the ads, but you get your ads out of the way first.
I pay for Prime yearly, and it's over $100 for a year for Prime. And even with that, I still get ads on certain things. Not everything. I mean, some of the Prime movies don't have ads, but then there are other things that they say, showing with limited ads. I'm like, why should I be getting any ads at all if I'm paying over $100 a year for your Prime service?
Mm-hmm.
I must be weird. I like the ads sometimes. Like going to broadcasting school and learning how ads are made and being someone that was actually in, the ad world for a long time. I enjoy like cool ads. Like the throwaway like car commercials, unless they're really like creatively done, and some of them are. But like Super Bowl, I don't give a fuck about football. But those commercials, that's the only thing I watch the Super Bowl for, is literally those commercials, man.
Yeah, but all those commercials are going to show at the beginning of YouTube videos anyway.
Well, yeah, but they're also going to show at the beginning of your shit for Amazon and, your ads on Disney. And you know what I'm saying? Like, it's, at least they're trying to get decent ads, like there's a lot of pretty funny ones and amusing ones I've seen on the streaming services that made me think, okay, yeah, at least it's not, the same fucking Downy commercial I've seen 2,000 times. And also, they also make deals with local businesses in your areas because they can tell where you're streaming from.
I do see a lot of local content too.
Yeah, I've seen shit for like local. One day I saw shit for a local comic shop, and I was like, "What the fuck?" Like I was like, I would have never seen that. Like, what the hell? That is amazing. So you do get ads that are like in your area about shit you actually give a fuck about, which is nice.
If I'm going to get ads, I prefer it to be before the movie actually starts rather than breaking the movie up and putting it in the middle. That pisses me off.
Yeah. I tend to see them doing that a little bit more with shows still. Like they're trying to get away with it a lot with the movies, but with the shows, you're still getting the right in the middle of your damn show shit. It's weird how
watching
all
TV,
that's on now.
Only not on TV.
Right.
And then there's other like weird. Go ahead.
Even with YouTube videos, they figured out that the 8-minute mark is right at the time to start putting the ads, and YouTubers are starting to figure that out. If they make their video to 8 minutes, then they can monetize it and that's when the ad shows up, and then it'll come back and have like maybe another 1 to 2 minutes of video, because that seems to be the sweet spot for them to actually monetize their videos and still have a short ad.
Oh yeah, definitely. Now, a great streaming thing, it's not a streaming service, you pay for the individual, items, is Vimeo. If you want to get access to a lot of what the indie world is of all genres, go to Vimeo. Get yourself a free Vimeo account, and then you can literally buy the digital versions of all these filmmakers' movies and things you can normally only get at conventions right there at Vimeo, man. And when you get them, you can either rent. I think you can rent or buy there as well. But you'll get access to all the indie stuff there too, which is another cool thing that you can do. And pretty much every horror film festival these days has some kind of film festival that even if you can't travel out to go see it, they do a digital version. Like we just did Horror Hound, and I got to find out when it is, because any day now they're supposed to do the online film. So all the films I didn't get a chance to watch, I can now watch from home. So a lot of them are doing that as well, so you can still see the streaming versions of these movies, or you can just buy like the digital pass to go and see it if you didn't go to the convention at all. But it's super cool how all that shit works these days.
What about you, Jenny? What do you watch?
What do I watch? Honestly, on a daily basis, a whole lot of kids' cartoons. I have found Alpha Blocks is not doing the job so well, but Number Blocks. I know I keep saying this, but Sophie asked if they could get some Rubik's Cubes, the Easter Rubik's Cubes, for Easter this year, so I got it. Dante looks at it for 3.2 seconds, says there's 27 blocks, Mommy. And there is. And I watch other things like Paw Patrol, but whenever I get to, I've been finding random documentaries about different things. Like the Beast or something of Bridgewater Triangle. That one was great.
Ooh.
Unfortunately, on most of the streaming services I'm watching, there are a ton of commercials, and I do not want to watch the Lincoln Log commercial again, where that building company has been licensed by the Lincoln Logs. I see that at least 12,000 times in like one sitting.
In an hour.
If I may, I just watched on Max the documentary miniseries "Quiet on the Set," and I pretty much watched all of the episodes in one sitting, and I had to take a very hot shower afterwards because, oh my gosh, because this is a documentary about the whole the child actors and the abuse, let's just say, that they endured during their time there back in the day. And yeah, just thought I'd bring that up.
You can't
I'm
watch from
curious.
mine.
Yeah, I just looked it up, and apparently the Horror Hound Rewind for the entire convention is going to be April 11th through 13th. So they're going to be doing the films, the short films, the after-hour events. I might actually be in some of that. Q&A panels, watch parties, special guests are actually going to be here for the virtual event. But it's over 27 hours of content that's going to be over that weekend. It's super cool, because that means I'll get a chance to see some of the shit I didn't see, and I can add to that video that's going to be coming out that Sunday.
The Rock.
But yeah, so we talked a lot about what got us into film, the kind of stuff we enjoy. We've talked about VHSs, DVDs, streaming services. We never know what we're going to talk about, like when we do these shows, especially as an episode 0, because it's kind of, it says episode 1 on your screen, but like to me, the first episode you ever do of a show is like that episode 0 where you get a chance to find out why these people are making this show and why you want to listen to them talk about these things. So hopefully we've answered some of those things for you guys. If you have other questions about anything we've talked about or things you'd like us to talk more about, Don't forget to leave that in the comments, either now during the live show or leave it on our Discord, our Facebooks, our YouTubes, all our socials. But
I'll
I
find you.
think yes, she will find you. She has a very specific set of skills. But I think at this point, man, I think we need to get into this interview.
Yes.
What do you guys think?
Yes.
So
Yes.
what we're going to do is we're going to play our commercials, and then from the commercials, we'll come back from them, and I will figure out how to make this work. Thankfully, I've
Okay.
done this during Mats and Monsters, showing pre-recorded stuff. So what we'll do is we'll blow the video up for you guys, and we'll all go bye-bye until it's over. And then when it's over, we'll come back and talk to you a little bit more, and then we'll kick you the fuck out.
You want me to do the commercials while you figure out that?
That would be fantastic.
Okay.
Podcast, a long-form bi-weekly show that celebrates all the things that made growing up awesome.
Well, that sounds good, but I don't know what all those words mean.
I think what Parasite Steve's trying to say is that on Retro Red Octopus, we explore a range of retro goodness, from toys, video games, and movies, to cartoons, and even snacks and school lunches.
Oh.
And we do it all with a positive spin, a slew of killer guests, and some very adult language.
And you know what else is cool?
No.
This crazy show is part of the Dorking Podcast Network with new episodes every Tentacle Tuesday.
What's that?
And if waiting 2 weeks for a new episode gives you a sad, know that we drop bonus episodes all the time, like the off-format Crow's Nest and an interview series we call The Brig.
You can listen to Retro Red Octopus on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or any app that's cool enough to carry the only show that celebrates all the things that make growing up awesome.
All right. Now let me do the whole screen sharing stuff real quick.
And when you're ready, I'll make it go blow up.
And I think I can make it even bigger on my end too to help out.
Okay.
How does that look? All right, let me hit play. All right, guys, here is the awesome interview we got a chance to do with Bernie Rao. As soon as I can make it, oh, hold on, I have to make it smaller so I can hit the play button. There we go.
Super excited tonight. Thank you for tuning in. This is a previously recorded segment that we are doing because we're dealing with 4 very different time zones right now to get everybody involved. So tonight we are interviewing on the first ever episode of the Owlite Picture Show, Bernie Rao, the creator of Killer Sofa, which we've already talked about, one of our favorite movies.
Definitely.
So we're going to talk to him about the making of the movie and everything that goes into the storytelling because this is what he does. He has so many things he's done. Bernie, you are completely bizarre, and I absolutely love it.
Yes,
Bizarre.
You are one
very
of the
my
most
word.
creative, just out there people I've ever learned about. Like I believe, yeah, the website is the Bizarro World of Bernie Rao, and he has done so many great
Thank
things,
you.
folks. But we're gonna start with Killer Sofa, which if you guys haven't checked out our episode, it's episode 2 of Tomb of the Terrible. We did a review on it, and you get to see such wonderful things as this lovely sofa who romances a girl, and it's just a sweet little love story between a girl and her furniture and demons and dibuks and very interesting things. So Bernie, would you like to tell us a bit about how in the hell did you come up with an idea for for this storyline?
Look, I was just honestly, I was just looking for something to do, something a little bit different. I'm a big horror fan, but I like old style horror, like Carpenter and Argento and stuff like that. That's what I can watch and watch again and again and again. And I just had no ideas, to be honest. Like, I wanted to be a horror film. I wanted to make a horror film, but I wanted it to be different. And I was looking after a recliner that a friend gave it to me because it was traveling. And I was like, oh man, this would be such a cool story. It's like a recliner killing people. I mean, it's so stupid, but it's just, you need something to make you smile and laugh if you're going to be with this thing for 2 years, So it's just kind of kept me going. Like, it's just funny, I think, And nobody said it was a bad idea at the time. Maybe they should have had, but that's just,
well, I've seen way worse. So
So I was mentioning to you before we started the show, it's one of my favorite movies that I suggest to people because it's just like, seriously, you've got to see this movie. I'm going to show you a couple other little screenshots that we have from the IMDb page, because you can't take screenshots when you're watching on streaming services anymore. But this is when the sofa loves you, or when the recliner loves you. And then this is when the recliner gets angry. I love how everything that you did with this recliner, he's attacking someone. And how does a recliner attack someone? By shooting out the bottom of the thing and whacking and whacking and attacking. And you can hear it slowly dragging around behind. Now, when the recliner is stalking you and looking up at you and judging you, this is what the recliner looks like. And how does he do things? This is how he disposes of bodies, by thumping them up onto himself and jumping around and dropping it off. So there's so many different things that you were able to do, and it's just how a recliner would be. You don't have a lot of supernatural stuff involved so much. I mean, there's the Dybbuk side of it, but the ways that you got around making it so the recliner could do this, and as Ron was saying, make it so expressive.
Yeah, that was the challenge here, because I didn't want the recliner to behave like a supernatural creature. For me, it was very important to keep it in the real world. Like, if this thing was moving around, what the obstacles would be. Like, it just cannot go through a door. It moves slowly. His biggest weapon for me was that people don't know this thing is possessed. That was the thing, right? So it can just kind of go unnoticed. But yeah, that was the thing, because I had these ideas where we would see the recliner levitating and stuff, and maybe that would be good for a sequel. Like you step up on the craziness.
Well,
but
I like it because it is such low-tech solution. You're not using any kind of special effects or anything to make it look supernatural. All you're really doing is just changing your camera angle and your lighting to make it look more imposing or threatening or benign. And I think that's genius.
You just gotta go pure. That's why I loved making this film. It was such a trip, because you have to really go pure storytelling, right? You're not gonna have like safety nets here. He's not gonna throw a light ray from his eyes, or only when he's feeding, right? That's something different. But so you got to think, okay, how am I going to keep this interesting? And this is a 10 second by 10 second attention span that people have, and you always have to keep thinking, oh man, what can happen here that will keep people interested? And that was my biggest challenge. I had many scenes that didn't work. It's just too stupid or too, this is what I came up with, and it was not easy. To get to that ending, and the ending, I know it's a bit strange, but it was the most satisfying ending I had for the whole thing that I shot, which was like 1 hour extra of stuff that just didn't work. It's just
Can we get the Rao cut, like the 2 hour, 2.5, 3 hour long?
You don't want to see it, man.
I do. I would. I'm that kind of person.
Yeah. Maybe.
This is when we need the DVD commentary,
I do
Yeah.
understand. You know, I just it was not working. I had a 2-hour version, and I was like, my God, this is so bad. And, you know, because it is a strange premise, and it's very easy to lose people with this thing, right? Because you're always at that edge of, okay, this is way too ridiculous, I'm out, right? So
Right.
to keep people watching until the end, this is a miracle. That's why I'm saying this is like my Taj Mahal. I will never do anything better than this. I think it just worked, right? I've made 4 films, and they kind of, you know, I think they were, but people disagree. This one, at least, of course, the reviews are awful, and 1-star reviews here and there, left and right, but at least people watch it till the end. That is a huge victory for me. That's why I say I'll never do anything that goes above this. This is it for me.
Well, I for one, quite frankly, I'm the type that when I see like the promotional poster they had with the streaming movie, I'm thinking, I am down. I am watching this thing, but it turned out, it's a lot of these are just, hey, I have a camera on my phone, so let's make a movie, okay? And it shows. But this one had some thought into it. That's what I loved about it. And the spring idea where obviously he's attacking people using springs with what, mental connection, you know, like telekinesis, maybe, if I remember correctly. But you mentioned the ending. I absolutely enjoyed the ending. I thought it was appropriate. It wasn't the happy-go-lucky, everything's fine now. No, it just kind of opened it up for a sequel. Is there going to be a sequel?
Yeah. Well, look, I've been trying to make one. It's just
awesome.
We'll get there. We'll get there. It's.
I am curious. What kind of a budget did you have for this?
Like, there was no budget.
Okay.
There was no budget. It's like whatever I have that week, it's what I'm going to put in the movie. And if there's no money, you know, for me, money was not the problem. Was because I had the camera, I had the sounds. James was my guy. He had his sound gear, and I had some lights because I was working as a news reporter of sorts. So I had, and the camera I have, it's like it's a $2,000 camera. It's not, but we're in a place where that doesn't matter anymore. Like any microphone, any camera, you guys know that,
Right.
Oh yeah.
So the budget, I never got a budget until the end, where I went to the New Zealand Film Commission and they gave me money to finish the film for deliverables, which means if I want to put this through the distribution, international distribution, they will pay for, insurance and all of that stuff.
Awesome.
If it hadn't been for them, I wouldn't have finished the film properly, at least. So there was, I don't know, in the end, it was the budget, we can say, okay, it was maybe 30 grand if you count my time, where 1 year working on this full time, almost, so 30-40 grand,
Well, you certainly pulled it off, sir.
Amazing, man.
Man, thanks. It was like very, important for me that it looks as good as possible. Like I'm not a huge fan of movies that don't look good, like they don't have good cinematography, or because for me, it comes back to, movies in the 70s and 80s. Man, they look so good. It's like people put an effort into it. Like they tell the story with light, right? It's not just, oh, there's a phone and there's fine footage. Don't get me wrong, it's great. I mean, I love found footage movies, some of them, but for me, I want it to be cinema, man. And this is, if I have the opportunity to make something, I'm gonna make it like cinematic, or I'll try.
Nice.
Oh, it was beautiful.
Yeah, out of respect for people who are watching the film, man, I need to give them something that I will enjoy. That's just.
You did. I have to know the name. Like, so this is a recliner, but the movie is Killer Sofa, and that's the biggest question people ask me when I recommend the movie. Like, this was about, where's the sofa? And I'm like, don't worry about where the sofa is.
There's no worry about the sofa. Look, I would like to have a great story, but then we go, this is just the low budget world and how things work, right?
Oh yeah.
So when I finished the film was called My Lover, My Lazy Boy. Okay, that was my title. I wanted that title. But when I went to the market and talked with distributors, they were all like, it's a bit long, and the types of movies we do needs to be like more punchy. So I went home to New Zealand and I was thinking, okay, what can I do? And I gave them a list of like 50 names that I wrote in one night. And Killer Sofa was amongst those names. I was like, oh yeah, Killer Sofa. But I never thought about it until I saw the poster like a few months later, because I went to shoot another film, and High Octane Pictures sent me an email saying, hey, we got the poster, we got the title. And I was like, sofa, but this is not a sofa. They're like, I know people don't care. Our audience is like, they like it. And I was like, but there's teeth here. There's no teeth in my movie. They're like, no, people love that, And to be honest, it looks great, the poster. I mean, it's
that's awesome, man.
I would love to. I would love to make it. If I had seen that poster before the movie, I would have made the recliner like that. Of course, it's a little bit shop of horrors and stuff. But
did you name the recliner while you were filming it? Did it have a name?
No, Jim, the rabbi guy, would have a name for it, but I don't even remember. It's too cheesy to even say it out loud. It's just, it was bring the thing, bring the recliner, it's a recliner.
All right.
The hardest thing with the recliner is the eyes, right? Because the eyes, there's light in the eyes. That's something I figured out when I was shooting. It's like, oh man, this guy needs to have something in his eyes so that it comes alive. So we always had a light pointing at the recliner. So I was operating the camera and I had this light that I kept shining on his eyes just to make sure we got something there. It's important, like, to have that spark,
So did you put the eyes on the recliner, or did the recliner actually come like that?
No. The recliner came with no eyes, man. It's freaky, No, I was like looking for a way to give the recliner an expression. And I went to the supermarket and I bought like 2 salt and pepper jugs, and they had those little caps that are round, and they were perfect for the recliner. I just put the caps there.
Well,
and
thank you for not using googly eyes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's one of those, I did not know that. So, wow.
Yeah.
Shoot, you guys go.
I was gonna ask. So, where did you get the recliner from? Like, I know that might be an odd question, but like, was it like from a thrift store? Like, did you buy it brand new?
No, it was like a used. There's a place, an auction like Craigslist, probably in America.
Okay, yeah.
Like that was it. I was like, I had the idea for the movie. Like, okay, I'm gonna make it with my friend's recliner, which had a bit of an expression, but not like this one. But that night when I had that idea, I went online. And I saw this thing and I bought it immediately for $100, which for me was like, oh man, $100. I don't want to spend $100 in a recliner. But I was like, that's it. That expression was the killer, man. And so bought it, picked it up the next day, started writing the script with the recliner there. Yeah.
I worked for a Lazy Boy actual warehouse for years, like fixing recliners and like looking at all the different models over like a period of like decades worth of models would be in this warehouse. And we would always joke about how one day one of them was just going to come to life and like eat our boss because we couldn't stand our boss. So like when this movie dropped, I was just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And it had been a while since I worked with all these people, but like my friends in the warehouse, like years after, I messaged all of them and sent them the link on Amazon, like, buy this, you have to watch this and just trust me. And they all did. It was like over a dozen of them. They all bought the movie immediately and we had a watch party.
Yeah, I was gonna Lazy Boy. I was thinking I was gonna be maybe sued by them, so I didn't use that. It was a thing.
Yeah.
New Zealand, we call it Lazy Boy. It's not it's a Lazy Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people in the States do that too. They'll refer to every recliner as a Lazy Boy. That's pretty common.
Yeah.
So you only had the one recliner. Did you take any precautions to make sure nothing happened to it? You have like 24-hour security guarded around it?
Of course. I mean, it's I've said this in another podcast. I had this scene was very iconic where we're gonna throw the recliner from a window to land on what was the guy, but it was like some boxes and stuff. But then it became too precious because I couldn't find another recliner like that. And if we ruined something about the recliner, that was it. There's nothing we could do. And you notice as the movie progresses, sometimes the recliner looks a bit deformed, the mouth, because somebody was putting the arm underneath, because we had this idea, we're gonna make it speak and stuff. So James would put his hand underneath, but then it started becoming all like very deformed. We had, so yeah, that was a problem. Yeah, we only had this thing, and it had to last the whole movie. So
you didn't have any stunt chairs.
No stunt chairs.
This was it. It's like, that's one. I tried to buy another one, but just couldn't find the right model. This was, the only one I found.
I was digging through my photos and I couldn't find it. I had sent UncleNecRo over there when we did the first podcast for it. My mother's neighbors, she had a bunch of frat boys living in the house next to her, and they set up their patio outside with a big fire pit. And one of them got a big beige recliner like that. It didn't have the eyes, but they hauled it out and had it sitting there. And that's where they sat whenever they'd go out and sit around the fire pit. And I'm like, oh my God, there's a killer sofa next door to my mom's house.
Yeah,
I've seen that picture. Yeah.
But I can't figure. I just recently moved a bunch of files around and I can't find it. So it makes me sad that I don't.
It's funny when I made the movie and you see that face. Every time I look at a chair these days, I'm always looking for that face. Like, oh yeah, there's a face there. It's like, once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Right?
I think you could grab any recliner. Like if you do a sequel and you need a stunt recliner, I think it adds to like the kitsch and the B side of things to actually have an obvious stunt recliner do the scene for like the stand-in stunt recliner thing.
Like a slight color.
I think like obviously a different recliner, same color, but that's the stunt recliner.
Or it's like plaid.
Yeah. Right, stuntman on the back of it.
The problem we had was that this was a real recliner with a real mechanism. This is very heavy to move around, and James would have to go in behind the recliner and move it. And man, it's like it's heavy, this thing, you can see it. Just making it go up in one of the last scenes where we see him standing up. It was like I had to remove the whole mechanism because otherwise it's just too heavy to just lift.
Yeah,
but if I made a sequel I would probably try to make one that it's a little bit fake inside so that a person can go there and move around, and that'll probably be it. Yeah.
That would
make a sequel where the killer sofa falls in love with a love seat.
Killer sofa 2, the Audubon.
Yeah.
Right of the sofa.
You cannot love the Parker Lounger.
Yeah. There was a studio that I was for 6 months working with a studio in India that wanted to make. They loved the movie and were trying to get this off the ground, and it's just the money just fell through, But there was 2 scripts that I wrote for the sequel, and it was great, man. It was gonna be a franchise, a whole franchise of this shit. But it's like, man,
India. I would actually go for a Bollywood remake of this. Like full musical.
That definitely has to turn into a suit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm game, man. It's like I would do anything to make another one. It's just this one happened in very, very special conditions. I had a part-time. I had some money in the bank. Then life comes and just making movies is hard. It's just it's just a long time when you're working in a micro budget, and things have to be right. You have to be stable emotionally. You have to have time and be in a place where you feel inspired and stuff. We'll see. I mean, I'm trying.
Oh yeah.
We will help with the push.
Definitely.
Yeah. Everyone we know, because we have a couple other buddies that are over in some movie projects and stuff too.
Yeah, I thought about doing a crowdfunding campaign, but that's so lame, man. I cannot go after people saying, "Hey, do you want to give me money to make my movie?" It's just I just can't.
See,
It's
like
just
a way you
silly.
can look at that though is you are pre-selling copies of the movies. Essentially, is what crowdfunding is. That's like when you do all the different tiers, people can donate. They can be, an executive producer for this amount of money. They can get a free copy of the movie if they, you're really just
Yeah.
pre-selling what you're making, rather
That's
than
true,
just
man.
asking for hand. It just depends on the platform though. Like if it's GoFundMe, then yeah, you're asking for handouts. But if it's, a bigger
Whatever.
campaign with rewards, you're just pre-selling.
Yeah, just feel that nobody would come. It would be very lonely and very
Oh
sad.
no.
About that.
I just came from a major horror convention here in the States just last weekend, and there were copies of Killer Sofa being sold at booths, and people were going nuts, going, "Oh my god, I can't believe they've got it!" And like I watched 8 copies be purchased at this convention, no joke. I was paying attention because I know which booth had them, and they were selling out of the copies.
Oh yeah, I did an Armageddon once, man. It was great. I sold all my T-shirts. It was great. I mean, I should probably do more of that stuff because I have no idea what's going on. I see.
Oh yeah, you have a big following for it, though, man. Is the thing. Like you have a good following for Killer Sofa. I really think people would come out for it, man.
I think so too. People like us that have seen the movie, and you say you're going to announce a sequel and you're doing a Kickstarter project for Killer Sofa 2. A lot of people would jump on board just because they believe in the project and they want to see it happen.
Oh yeah.
So what do you think it's the best? You guys are into this. The best platform is GoFundMe or Kickstarter or Indiegogo. What's the best one for something like this?
For film, it's going to be either Indiegogo or Kickstarter. It's really just a toss up between fees, and that's kind of like by country because like you're going to have different fees than we might have. Like, so they're both equally like both number one. It's just take a look at their fee structure. I think you get a little bit less fees overall with Indiegogo.
Yeah, I just thought that was something that happened 10 years ago and that was gone. It's like people are not doing that anymore. Maybe.
It's huge. I'm watching movies get funded, especially like NDB films like this. There's a big resurgence in crowdfunding in the last 3 or 4 years. Like, it's huge. I saw a movie the other day. They got it was just a really silly comedy horror, and they were looking for like I think 30 or 40 grand and ended up getting 68 grand in like I think 3 or 4 weeks.
Man, that would be a dream. Yeah. Maybe I'll.
Crazy.
Kickstarter is still a huge platform, so I see a lot of people still doing projects on Kickstarter.
Kickstarter and Indiegogo, man, they're still both very, very.
Shut up and take my money.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah.
Like Necro says, shut up and take my money. Here.
Shut up and take my money. Yeah, man, thanks. Maybe I'll try. Yeah. Who knows?
Let us know.
We'll probably do it.
Yeah, we'll definitely help, man. In any possible way.
$5 here, $5 there. I mean, maybe it's if enough people come in.
The first movie I did took 7 years to make because we could only film on weekends, and some days we didn't have we didn't have enough money in our pocket to go buy a new tape for the camera. So like it would be Lillian, but when you said my budget is what I've got in my pocket, like I'm like, I feel that so hard, man.
I mean, like The Life of Brian was famously funded by a Beatle because he wanted to see it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So maybe talk to Paul McCartney.
Paul McCartney,
Maybe he's a fan. I don't know.
So,
actually, I invited Peter Jackson because I shot the movie in that city, Wellington, right?
Yeah.
And he wrote back saying for a cameo, right? I was like, man, Peter, it would be such an honor to have you here. And he wrote back saying, sorry, I'm doing King Kong stuff and I'm somewhere else. But hey, good luck and send me a copy when the movie is done. I was like, my God. And I sent him a copy. I never heard back. But hey, it's just...
Vegas changed a lot in his career once King Kong came along because a lot of people don't even know his horror roots, like where he comes from, because he doesn't do any of it anymore. So it's odd.
Legendary stuff. Yeah, man, it's like Bad Taste, Brain Dead.
We just did Brain Dead on one of our shows. Yeah.
So good, man. It's still one of my favorite movies of all time. It's just amazing. Heavenly
Creatures also.
Meet the Feebles, man.
That's such a wild movie, dude.
The big one, Harry. It's the big one.
I mean, there's also Frighteners too. I mean,
he started getting big with Frighteners.
Yeah, Frighteners was a change there, and then came the big bucks, and And when I went there for a couple of times to their studio to do stuff, unrelated stuff. And when you get there, you realize, okay, now I understand why the guy took that path, because suddenly you have 1,000 employees. Like, this is a huge studio with digital, with workshops, he has to make movies that bring that kind of money. It's not going to make small movies anymore. It needs to be Mortal Engines up, right? It's a factory, it's an industry there. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's a shame because his first movies were so good.
They were art, man.
Yeah.
So Bernie, how did you get started into filmmaking? How did you jump into that?
Look, I've always been a musician. I played guitar for many, many years. And I wanted to study something because I always felt music was something that had no future. I was not talented enough. I was talented enough to be in a band, playing in the background. I wanted to study something, so I went to film school in Portugal. Back in the day, it was free, pretty much. So, gave me an university degree of sorts. So I thought, oh man, I'm done with this. After I finish, I will have work, which is completely not true. You come out and there's no work for you. It's just, that's how, universities work, right? They just sell you the idea that you're going to get a job, and then you come out and it's like, oh, now, yeah, I'm in the same place pretty much. So I started making my own films, like just 15 years ago, I always wanted to make a feature. That was my dream for many years. And I made the first one for no money. I made the second one. Then I started going to the markets, trying to get some money here and there. And I made a couple of movies in China like that, just kind of, hustling for money and just making the films. And then Killer Sofa came when the film just fell through. Like, I wrote a script for 1 year, trying to get money. No money came in. And I was like, man, I don't care. I'm just going to get a camera and just going to shoot something. So just started shooting Killer Sofa. It was something that just started. There was no planning or anything. It was like I wrote the script in a month and a half. And some people say it shows me, and just kind of started calling people and say, hey, you want to be in my movie? That was it. It's like, hey, I saw your profile. Do you want to play a role in my silly movie? And people showed up. It was, Jet Brophy is a huge star in New Zealand. He's big. He's in all Peter Jackson films and stuff. And when he replied to my ad, I put an ad in the newspaper saying, hey, I'm making a film. Anybody wants to come in, you're welcome. I'll have a role for you if you show up. And he called me and he was like, my God, this is huge because this guy is big, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, and for him, it was like, man, I just want to make something fun. I don't care.
That's amazing.
I don't want money. I just want to have fun. And he did have fun. We had a blast, man. Shooting this film was so fun. It's like,
I can imagine.
Experiences of my life. It's just so stupid. And it's just, it's a party, just go have a few beers and just shoot a scene or two. And it was shot in weekends. And, there was no like 8 hours a day. No, it was 1 hour here, 1 hour there. And I shot some stuff that didn't work. I had to call people back and say, hey, let's repeat this scene.
Yep.
But because I made it, I made an effort to make this a fun thing. So when they would come, there would be food, there would be people there having a good time. So people kept coming back. And we shot this for 3 months, maybe 4 months, just scene by scene, day by day, Yeah.
What was your biggest hurdle during production?
Look, man, my biggest hurdle was when I lost 6 months of the editing of the film. It was like, it was huge. This was huge. Like, I almost gave up on the film. It's just, I was editing because I started editing on a hard drive, just proxies and stuff. Just, I'll start doing a rough edit. That became my edit, right? And I didn't realize that after, 6 months working on Premiere and having that hard drive there, I didn't realize that was the film, right? And I failed to make a backup. It was so stupid, right? So one day I had to go. I was late for work. I picked up the computer and the hard drive fell on the floor. And suddenly it all came to me. It's like, oh shit! If that hard drive is not working now, I lost 6 months of work. I had the movie completed and it was not working. I sent the movie to Switzerland, to the best guys that make like reconstruct hard drives and stuff, paid a fortune. They couldn't bring that one file back, which was the Premiere Pro file, which is like a 5 megabyte file that contains, the timeline. So I had to pull myself together and redo everything. That was insane, man. That was like 6 months of making the same mistakes. Like when you're doing editing, you're like, oh man, how didn't I didn't see this before. This is great. And then you realize, shit, I did this like 7 months ago and it didn't work because I'm missing something. So that was the biggest hurt, like editing.
I'm sorry. You did talk about how just the cast got along great. So you had some fun people working with you on telling this story. Fabulous cinematography. How was it for adding another layer to the storytelling that you get to do in movies that you don't get with a book, really, or a comic or anything like that? Working on the score and the sound and everything behind the music, and the music behind the movie.
I mean, the score would be James. James would be the one to answer this. I mean, James is a musician and he took a degree on composition for films. When we finished the film, I gave him some temp scores. Like, say, James, this is sort of what I'm thinking here. And he went home and he came back 3 weeks later. And that was it. That was the score of the film. I didn't touch anything, pretty much. It was like he gave me, he understood the moods. And of course, we had to correct some things and just to make the thing flow better. But we were thinking, oh, maybe it came out too serious, right? There was like a moment there where we thought, okay, maybe this needs to be more silly, like more Danny Elfman and less like, less serious movie for a serious horror film. But then maybe it's what makes it so unique, right? Which is like people don't know if we're serious about this or if this is just, people get confused a little bit by the score. Sometimes it's like, okay, am I watching a real movie or this is a silly movie? And some people that might not work for some people. And I understand that. But for me, it's just find it hilarious when you just don't know if you're watching a comedy or a horror film. It's just, that for me instantly makes it a comedy, right? It's like, filmmakers like Jim and stuff, it's always funny, like for me at least, even when he's doing serious stuff.
So in terms of the filmmaking process itself, you're going from a script to putting something on video. Were there things that you might have written in the script that just you couldn't figure out how to translate to video, or how much did you have to change in order to make that happen?
Yeah, you always have to change a lot. It's just the script is really a blueprint. You hear this all the time. The script is a blueprint. But in a movie like this, absolutely, because you get to the set and the actor is just not saying the words, or the words are not. You have, when you're there, things are changing all the time. It's like the script for me was like, okay, we start with this, right? I need something to look at and tell the actors what to do, but in the end of the day, I have like 10 minutes to make a scene work. Like somehow, it's a desperate attempt to grab something that I know in the editing will make the story go. So yeah, it's just, there's no control when you have no money to course correct or to make things happen. It's like, for me, it was like I was more afraid of running out of ideas than money. Like for me, money was not a problem because nobody was getting paid. There was pizzas and stuff, but money was not going to save the day. It was an idea. So I had to keep bringing ideas, and the people in the crew and James and everybody, it was like, man, we're having this problem and we all figure out a way to make it work. And I was so lucky that everybody was on the same book, right? On the same page. It's like, Yeah. So that was it. I mean, I would love to have a script and get to the day, and this is it. This is where we're shooting, and in the end of the day, wow, we did the script. But here, things just changed so much, Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was going to ask you a question too about another movie. You've done a lot of work with things. I guess before we get to, I was going to ask you about the Baldlands, but before we get to that, some of the editing work that you did for the effects, you utilized Blender, and
oh yeah,
I've tried, and I'm not stupid. I can do AutoCAD and stuff like that. I can do all the different like GIMP things and photo stuff, but when it comes to Blender, I can't make a goddamn cube. And I can't. I was trying to do it for Sims stuff, the game.
Yeah.
I wanted to make a cube, and I couldn't get it to work for that. So anybody who can do things like you do, you're a god, because you figured out not only how to make a shape, but how to make it move and stuff. So how much time did you devote to learning Blender and stuff for this, or were you one of those people that just come naturally to?
No, nothing comes naturally with Blender and these kinds of programs. It just took a tutorial on Udemy or something. It's just, I wanted to learn because I reached a point where I was like, okay, I'm really limited on what I can do. So I wanted to be able to pull off more effects and more stuff. So I started learning this, it took me years, and I'm less of a Blender person. I work more with Unreal Engine. I make animations and VFX and stuff like that. Nothing that was in Killer Sofa. In Killer Sofa, I just used it for some backgrounds once in a while, but it was all practical effects because I was not that, I didn't know much about Unreal when I was shooting this. This was 2016 or something. But it takes a while. But once you start figuring out the way the program works, things get easier. I know it's harder to grasp that, but you just have to go through those first steps. But then things just kind of, just get easier as you go in. And I'm not an expert at all. I make some stuff, but but it's great. It's good fun. 3D, I love it. It's a whole new world.
And I just finished watching before this the Baldlands, which was, again, just a crazy film. I love the whole premise behind it. For those of you who haven't seen it, it's baldness is illegal, as is wearing wigs. You go to jail for this. And so the movie is full of some of the most hideous wigs that I've ever seen. And it's super humorous. It was all in black and white, and I believe you said you were going to recolor it. You pulled it off of
Here's the thing. I shot black and white because I wanted it. I thought, man, this needs to be a black and white movie. I thought Fahrenheit, what's the name? Fahrenheit 611 or 451? Exactly. It was like, man, this needs to be a Nouvelle Vague type of film. Of course, I'm nobody, so I cannot pull it off like that in the markets, right? So I took it to the markets, and everybody was like, it's a black and white film. You need to make it in color and stuff. And I was like, yeah, probably I should make it in color. And I've been trying to do the grading for a while. It's just such a lo-fi film. I don't know, I should put it in Tubi or something. It was distributed for a while, but then it got pulled back, and I was like, I just don't know what to do with it. I mean, I'll try to release it again. It's just very weird film, but I loved it. It took me 4 years to make it.
I don't know. Black and white seems to be kind of artsy, so maybe A24 can just.
Yeah, if I was Nick Shot, but like, and nobody coming to them with a black and white film. They're like,
is it vignette? Is that where it's kind of darker on the outside? You had a couple of shots like that. I thought they were brilliant. I really enjoyed them.
Great.
Again, and I think you did some of the sound on that one. The score was
the soundtrack. I did all the score. It's very simple songs, very basic songs, but I had a
that
great time.
kind of-
Yeah.
You had that kind of police thing going on. There'd be the siren sounds, and then the rest of it was
Yeah.
really playful as they're just kind of going around and doing stuff. It gets you
Look,
into the movie and keeps it lighthearted, even though it's it's like, is this a movie seriously about like segregation and stuff, or how seriously should I take this? Because it is kind of about a real problem, but you detracted it by having it be about baldness being the reason why people get it's something that people, once again, like race or anything else, have no control
Yeah.
over, but
Yeah.
so
Look, I was living in a beautiful place in New Zealand. It's like almost an island, a small island in New Zealand, and that's where the movie takes place. And I was working, part time online, and this was the movie I made over 2 years, just on weekends, right? It was like, but I had a great time. I love making the movies. That's why for me, it's worth it, right? It's like, even if nobody sees it, or I just cannot not do it, So the making the Bald Lens was like jazz, it just, there's no script. You just go weekend by weekend. You're like, okay, maybe the story should come this way. And then you take your camera and your microphone and then you shoot it with your actors. I love making movies like that, but it's just not very practical, or, I understand it just takes a long time, but I loved it, man. It's thanks for liking it. It's great. Yeah.
we're gonna I got ahead of myself a little bit. UncleNecRo had wanted to bring something up with you about The Mist.
Well, I was just going to point out that Frank Darabont just, re-released that movie. Originally, it was in color, but he re-released it in black and white, and that made it much better. So maybe you're onto something. I mean, you may have been trying to save money, but you can just use that as, I'm a genius that decided to do this all along.
Look, I mean, my hope was that Killer Sofa was so popular that somebody would come and say, hey, what about the Bald Lens and stuff? That never happened, right? So it's like, I would like to release it. It's just releasing it costs money, like deliverables, and the distributors ask for money. And I was thinking put it on Tubi because it's free pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'll do it. It's like, I tend to just move on. Okay, I made the movie. I made a tour with the movie where I played live music with the film. That was great. I traveled for 1 year just playing in small theaters and stuff. Sometimes for nobody and stuff, but that's part of the thing. I was in a motorhome and I was traveling with my film, and that was great. But maybe I should go back to it.
I thought it was great, and I looked up. I wasn't able to go through nearly all of the different videos you have up on Vimeo, but
don't worry about it.
Teddy, I don't know if any of you guys caught this. There's video for a music video called Teddy that you did the whole video for it, correct?
Yeah, it was an artist. It's a friend of mine in New Zealand, Dr. Glam, and we shot that in a couple of days. It was great. It's just, something funny. I got the Canon 5D Mark II, and I was like in love with the camera. It's like, oh my God, this camera is revolutionary. So I was like, that's what I did. Like the weekend after I got the camera, like, hey, let's shoot something with this thing. Cost me a fortune, that thing, $4,000 or whatever. No, it's worth like $500. It's beautiful, man. It's like that sensor still today, man. It's I prefer the images coming from the Canon than this camera I use in this one, the Killer Sofa, right? It's a lot harder to make it look good,
What were you filming on, like, with Killer Sofa?
It was Blackmagic production camera, 4K.
Okay.
That retro looking one, the brick.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. I just had a similar experience. I got out of film after some experiences. You're talking about losing 6 months of editing. Well, we lost, I think, 4 or 5 months worth of footage because our editor / DP had a house fire. So we were under contract with a charity and just kind of had to cobble things together and put it out. And that kind of like made me like leave. And then we've been talking about getting back into film. So I went out and got the new the Samsung S24 Ultra, which right now has the best camera, not just in cell phones on the market. It beats everything up all the way up into, like, I think it's now considered pro level. So I got a gimbal for it, so I can literally control, like, with a remote on the gimbal when I move it around. It's insane. So now I'm all freaking out about the gear, and I'm like, I need to film next week. I need to do this. I need to do that. I need to see what this thing can do.
You'll get your chance.
Yeah, for me, it's like I need to be excited about the gear as well. Like, and I don't care. It could be the shittiest camera, that will excite me. Like, oh man, can I make a movie with this thing? It's like, it's just, I don't care if it's Red or Alexa or Samsung or you know, it's just, it's a camera. And it's just,
I did a film with a really shitty old Canon camcorder, like an old one that were like not even too much like longing into it, them going all digital. So like we managed to do the whole movie, and that the sound was not good, but per se. But the film for the time it was nice. It wasn't the best thing out there, but you can do a lot with less.
Yeah. Because in the end of the day, the chances of the movie not going anywhere are high, right? We're fighting obscurity here. It's like there's nobody pushing for the film. Nobody wants to see the shitty film. You know, this is something, at least me, I do for passion. It's like, hey, when I have time, when I have the mental space, this is what I need to do because I can die tomorrow. You know, it's just something that I love doing it. It's just, I never made money with this. Philosopher made money, but not for me. It's like I made awful deals with distributors and sales agents. It was what I could get. It was like there was no stars. There was no, and nobody knew the movie would be popular. I'm amazed the movie got where it got. Because I made other movies and it didn't go anywhere pretty much. Like this one, has a life. I'm talking with you guys. You guys saw this movie. This is huge, right? It's like. For absolutely no money for promotion. This is like put the movie out there and forget, right? And the movie just kind of.
This is like your Trolls 2.
No. Nothing in Trolls 2. Trolls 2 is just too awful to be in this conversation.
Trolls 2, man. It's like
Bill Bog.
I got an example where we were signing up people to say like, okay, so we've got Bernie Rao coming on. Who would like to be here? And we had like. The entire network is like fangirling, like, I want to be on, I want to meet him, I want to meet him. So you are like, we are really excited. We're really trying to contain ourselves from being like,
yeah, it's great, man. It's like, I don't go in the street and people say, oh, you made Killer Sofa. No, man, that doesn't happen to me. I go on Twitter just to retweet stuff. It's like, I used to retweet just the best stuff. Now I retweet everything. I just don't know how it works. I don't have any, I just retweet stuff. I only read good reviews these days. If I see that it's a 5-star review, yeah, I'll read it. 1-star reviews I don't read anymore. It's like, it's too heartbreaking.
Life's too short.
Life's too short, man. It's like
it's be a t-shirt. Life's too short for 1-star reviews.
Yeah.
There you go.
I remember I watched a film once where an actor was saying, I think Malkovich or something, just read me the good reviews. And I was like, oh man, that's so bad because I would like to read the bad reviews until when the movie came out and the bad reviews came like a tsunami. I was like, man, it was heartbroken because suddenly I'm like, oh my God, this feels awful. So a few years back, I just said, okay, if it's below 4 or 3 stars, I'm just not going to read.
Well, nowadays, it's like everybody wants to just watch something just to complain about it, whether it's good or bad or not. Barbie and Oppenheimer were great films, but everybody just wanted to trash on it. Almost.
The Crow's not even out yet, and people are already trashing it.
Right. Right. I'm one of them because reasons. Anyway.
And look, I do understand this is the type of movie where you want to trash. I completely understand. It's like, it's fun. Some bad reviews are so fun to read. It's like,
well, I think there's a fine line there, whether or not you get a good or a bad review, because movies like The Killer Sofa, they're what I call, and we've talked about this on the network before. They're what I call blockbuster movie night. Blockbuster Friday nights. doing a sleepover with your friends in high school, you're looking for a movie on Friday night, you're gonna go for whatever the cheesiest possible movie is that you can find. That's what you want to watch. So movies like Killer Sopa, they really play into like people's nostalgia. I think they're like a unique niche. You know, it's filling a unique niche that people need to have that. And I feel like that's the reason why movies like this are so successful.
Yeah, I get it. I used to work in a Subway, like making sandwiches back in the day, right? And I was with my friends there, like my colleagues, Indians and Pakistanis and whatever. This was in Glasgow, like many years. And we had a laptop with movies, right? And the movies we could watch when you're working and you're like having fun, it's not every movie you could watch. You cannot watch Schindler's List. It's like, it just doesn't work. Fast and the Furious, Transformers, that works because it's just brainless. Like, oh wow, look at that machine. You know, it's like,
and the explosions that I missed.
Yeah. And there's a place for those types of movies. You know,
I call them the memory makers because everybody I know that like everybody here, we're all people that are like aficionados of like B films, like B comedy, horror, especially. They're memory makers because when you watch one with a friend, for the rest of your life, you're gonna have little inside jokes about that movie that you watched together. Like we all have them for stuff we watched together. I had one with my mom who got me into all this. Like when we watched Dead Alive, my mom was like, "You seen that Rat Monkey movie lately?" That's what she calls it, the Rat Monkey movie, and I'll remember that.
Yeah.
When
Rat Monkey.
Yeah, and then when USA Up All Night did the Toxic Avenger trilogy, like the entire trilogy, my mom recorded it all on a VHS and actually wrote on this VHS tape, "Toxic waste do not erase." Now that VHS tape doesn't work anymore, but we still have it because that was the memory that we made while watching these B horror comedies that meant so much to us. And that's the market in which people are still loving Killer Sofa because people are still, we just all made more memories about it, together when we did it. And that was, within the last year. So people are out there still making memories over this thing that you made, man.
Yeah,
totally
and you
agree,
ask people. Go ahead.
No, I totally agree. When I watched Bad Taste, Peter Jackson's first film, was a huge thing in my life. It's like changing my life, right? Because it's so fun, it's so honest, right? No compromises, like big explosions. And I was like, my God, this is what I want to do for the rest of my days. It was Bad Taste that made me want to be a filmmaker, pretty much.
Nice.
Yeah, and you ask anyone, hey, did you see Killer Soap? And they say, oh yeah, that's a great movie. Because they're remembering how it made them feel at the time. They're remembering the situation around it and the people that they were with when they watched it. So you made a great movie.
Yeah. For me, it's a great movie for me because I remember what was shooting the movie. I don't have any idea. I never watched the film with people, right? Because I just moved on. I had another film, and for me, it's something that I see sometimes popping up on YouTube and stuff. Oh, there's a review. I was like, I go and see it because I have an alarm, right, that tells me. It's like, oh man, somebody's still reviewing the movie, but I'm so glad, man. But it's not my movie anymore. It's like I made that, and for me, that experience lives with me, right? But what people say about it, it's like it has nothing to do with me anymore. It's like we're detached, right? Because I'm not called to come to big conventions and talk about the film and stuff. It's like, yeah, it's a great movie. It's I think I love it, man. Some people disagree.
Well, thank you for this gift that you have bestowed upon everything.
Big time.
Look, I just channeled it like an ET thing, right? It's just, hey, I made that, but it's not mine anymore. It's yours. And, it's the Pirates movie.
This is my Evil Dead 2.
Evil Dead.
Yeah.
You seem to be quite the world traveler. Are you going? You've been in a lot of places. You just moved into Germany. Are you going for projects that you're working on, or?
Sometimes it's projects. My partner is also works in medicine, so we have to move a lot. Like when you have a parent that's in the army and you have to move bases and stuff. And we've been trying to move to Europe for a while, and because we lived in Australia and New Zealand for almost 20 years, but her dream was to be in Europe, and I wanted to come and be close to my family here. So it's just, you follow where the work is, and you just move. I don't know. I've always been a very international person. I've never stayed too many years in one place. it's just the way life worked for me. It's like I lived in 6 countries, and it's sort of, and it's not all romantic. Sometimes it's like, oh, we're moving again with pets and stuff, and put everything in the car and just move. The good thing in Europe is there's so many places I can live because I have a Portuguese passport. So man, when you have 27 countries, it's insane, man. Just staying in one country is like, come on. It's like in America, you guys have all the states and stuff. It's how it is. But I guess it's the same.
We're all from the Midwestern area, and we're known for road tripping. And I talk to my friends like in England and stuff, and they're like, what do you, and I'm like, oh, we, went and put 2,500 miles on the car the other weekend because we drove all the way down to Alabama and then came back to Nebraska. And they're just like, what? How do you, because I mean, I never really, I always wondered why they never, I'm like, if you live on an island and there are 4 countries on this island, and it's a very small island, why don't you just go visit them all the time? I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna weekend in Scotland, then go hang out in Wales the next weekend. And they're like, petrol costs money. The roads are not in good condition. You don't understand. We don't have the interstate systems and driving SUVs because they take up more space than we have over here. And so it's very different, I guess, from the American perspective. We expect that you're moving around all the time. We're like, why wouldn't you drive 1,000 miles this weekend to go see another country? People are like,
because it's expensive, right?
Drive 500 miles an hour. Sorry.
It's a great song.
Like the Proclaimers. All right.
So do you have anything that you're working on right now? Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. You go.
I was working on the sequel really until a few months ago when the money just fell through, and so I kind of took a break, started working on writing another project, because you need some time after 6 months intensely, doing storyboards and so seeing locations, and it's just sometimes money is the worst thing you can have, right? Because when you have no money, that's it. You're gonna start when you're gonna start. There's no strings attached. Mm-hmm. We had a budget of 1 million, right? This was huge, like for a movie, which is not, but it's for a Killers of a movie, it is huge. But we were gonna have stars. We were gonna have like a sequel and a trequel, like more movies. It just became too big for what it is, and it just fell through. Sort of the studio just said, hey, we just gonna do something else. And then I was like, oh, that sucks. So I'm kind of thinking now how to move ahead. Maybe the Kickstarter thing, it could be an interesting thing. Maybe I should think about it.
You should.
If people want to see it, I would do it 100%. It's like my fear would be that I make a Kickstarter, I get $1,000, and it's like, it's so sad, man. It's like, oh my God, now nobody wants to see this, because maybe, I don't know, maybe I will do it. Yeah.
You got 10 of us right here on this network that want to support it and want to help. So you've already got an army starting out. You got the outline army behind you to help you share, to help you do whatever you need to do, man.
Wait, I got my wallet here. I mean, which credit card do you want me to put this in? I'm ready to go.
Let's go. Yeah. Look, man, you're getting me excited about it. It's like maybe that's the path forward, because that would be like people would, I will show the script that I have and all the work that I did already. Like, hey, I was doing this, and this is what's gonna happen. And maybe
those are the projects that do better too. Like when you can already prove that you've already done so much towards. Like it's not a hey, I'm just thinking about it. It's a hey, here's all the ducks in the row already.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah, you're right. I mean, but I supported many Kickstarter campaigns back in the day. And for that reason, I remember that guy who made Blue Ruin. I supported that movie. I was like, oh my God. Yeah, he did. Yeah. And I was like, dude, I think this is a great film. And I gave like $20 or something, and I got a poster that I lost, and it doesn't matter. But it's like So maybe people are there, people like me and people that really want to see the sequel. You know, yeah, you're right. What can
I supported Kung Fury when they were doing a Kickstarter project on that. I threw $50 at it just to get a Blu-ray DVD.
But Kung Fury, come on, it's a classic.
And it's only a half hour long.
Yeah. But man, dinosaurs and
Yeah.
So I have a question. Do you still have the recliner?
Well, no. Jim threw it away, like the rabbi guy, because I left the recliner in his garage, and I said, Jim, don't do anything with this because I'm thinking we're gonna put it like in a museum. In New Zealand, there's museums with like stuff from movies and stuff, and I thought, well, maybe this will be someday will be interesting. And I left it in his garage, and then 6 months later, when I came back to New Zealand, he's like, "Oh, I had to empty the garage and stuff," and it's like gone. But
I was going to ask for an autograph from the recliner. You know what I mean?
Maybe we'll get it back. I don't know. There's somebody who knows somebody who could have taken it, and we're still chasing it. Maybe, but they'll show up. Yeah, hopefully.
You could do a documentary about finding the sofa.
Oh, man,
I know they were talking about Rick Astley in his famous video. Wore a jacket and it got tossed out. He wrote at concerts. They got tossed out in the audience one time, and it went through. And they were making little like, "Oh, I have the jacket. Oh, the jacket's gone here." So we can like, where's the recliner? And see if people can weigh in on where the recliner.
Yeah, because I think definitely will be worth something, man. Some people would love to have it, right? It's like, hey, it's an iconic thing. I would love to have a prop from Bad Taste. I would pay good money for it. It's like or Brain Dead.
It would be awesome if like a fan just picked it up from the corner and just took it around the world, taking photographs of it in front of iconic landmarks, and just have a photo album they send you.
That's hilarious.
Man, that's hilarious. Like the Eiffel Tower is just a recline. Yeah.
Well, I mean, even if you can't get the recliner back, there's always ways around that, because if it's possessed by a Dybbuk, then maybe you can have it mutate over time or something, and it starts changing slowly and looks slightly different.
Like an actual sofa?
Yeah, exactly.
Like
that was the part of this franchise, was that this is actually part of a sofa. So there's others around the world. Okay.
Right? There is still a big deal on YouTube for Dybbuk box videos or Dybbuk item videos, where people will buy on the dark web items that are supposed to contain a Dybbuk, and then they'll get their studio at home and record themselves opening it. Like, so what if somebody gets the Dybbuk recliner?
Well, in that case, I mean, they could trap the Dybbuk in the box. Somebody lets loose the Dybbuk, and it finds another recliner or a sofa that it can inhabit. So then you don't need the original.
So would that be considered method acting?
Exactly. Actually, I was very honored. Like the Dybbuk page on Wikipedia now says something about Killer Sofa. Like there's a Dybbuk official page, and somebody put down there, and there was a movie called Killer Sofa that made with Dybbuks and stuff. That was like, wow. Dybbuk was Jim's idea, because Jim is from New York, right? It's like, it's very, takes that thing very seriously, and it's like, let's make it a Jewish mythology thing. I was like, Jim, that's great, man. It's like great idea,
It's brilliant.
I like the the rabbi with the voodoo queen was a very cool combination.
It was. I love that.
It's like
coming out from this direction, and then the guy on the YouTube videos that they keep looking up at. That was super fun.
Grant Kiriyama, the YouTube kind of guy. It was great, man. And the sequel, he will have a role there because he's so charismatic. That guy is just, man. He needs to be in the movie, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah. He needs to come back because he was just fabulous.
Now you do have an Etsy store page that I've been checking out. That's got a lot of different shirts for Killer Sofa.
Yeah, man, I make more movie with shirts than with a movie, man. It's like people buy the shirts, and I have boxes of shirts. I love the shirts. And every time I go somewhere, I just give it away as a gift. And
merchandising.
Oh, you have some cool ones. Like you've got the Killer Sofa versus Jason Voorhees shirt that I saw on there. Like you have some really cool Killer Sofa shirts on there, man. Like it's unique.
Look, once in a while, 2 o'clock in the morning, I go there and I start making stupid designs. It's just,
That's what we have. That's what we have Adele for.
Somebody make that movie happen.
I'm
Somebody.
actually wearing one of our first Owlite shirts. So.
All right. You guys sell shirts as well, Etsy?
Yeah.
We do
not on Etsy.
TeePublic, but yeah.
Yeah. Etsy's good. It's print on demand, so I just click a button and it goes from the factory.
Yep. Easier that way. Yeah, you have a lot of great products on there, so I'm gonna make sure we get up a link for that in our show notes. That way, other people that are watching knows where they know where they can go get a shirt from you.
Etsy, Killer Sofa. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Once in a while, I sell. Maybe every week or something. People buy. It's always the same one as the poster or the recliner, but yeah. I never sold any socks or anything. Yeah.
We are going to have to wrap this up so that he can get this ready to go for the live part tonight.
All right, guys.
So I'm going to zoom in on you and tell us everything as far as where you like people getting in touch with you and all of that kind of stuff. We do have most of your links in the show notes, either up above or down below. But how do you like to be contacted?
Look, just get in touch via X, I suppose, Twitter, or Facebook. Or my webpage, BernieRao.com, and I'll make sure I'll write back to you guys. And it's, thanks so much for watching the movie and for liking it. What can I say? And look out for the sequel. I'll try to make it happen.
All right, guys. Once again, thank you, Bernie, for coming, putting up with our shit. We absolutely love getting the opportunity to talk to you, and we sincerely meant every word we said about wanting to be your personal army to help get Killer Sofa 2 made, because this is a movie that's brought us so all together, and we're down for it, man. We are down for it. Ron's got his credit card standing by.
You know it. I'm all about it.
How many? Go ahead.
I swear to God, if he starts a Kickstarter for Killer Sofa 2, I'm all over that shit.
Oh, dude, we'll help him do his crowdfunding, his all of it, dude. That would be amazing. He's so passionate about this, and you can tell how badly he wants this to get made. And the more he talks to people like us and other people out there, leaving reviews, he's seeing that everybody wants this to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And how often have you bought a recliner that had eyes in it? Because that question, Craig, he's like, did it already have eyes when you bought it? The recliner?
I don't know. I feel afraid if I had a recliner like that, I would constantly be fighting with my cat because she scratches up my recliner. It's got claw marks all over it. I can imagine I come home one day and my cat's gone. I'm like, "Where's the cat? Where's my cat?" It's like the recliner ate her.
The ultimate verse movie: Killer Sofa versus Cat.
Exactly. Might be in the sequel.
Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in, man. Seriously, we had a lot of fun with this, and it's great to get yet another new show over here on the Elliott Network. Speaking of shows, though, we got one coming up Monday. James,
tomorrow. Well, we're going to be watching the movie Mandy the Haunted Doll. It's free on Tubi if you want to play along with us at home, and it's going to be 9:00 Eastern Standard Time as always tomorrow. So. I'll see you there.
Join us when we watch terrible movies so you don't have to. Tuesday, of course, Splash Pages always has an amazing show. They start an hour earlier than us on Tuesdays. It's at 8 p.m. Eastern for you Eastern folks. That's where I'm at. So I have Raz Standard Time. So whatever time zone I'm in is Raz Standard Time. Wednesday, of course, we've got Mats and Monsters making the big comeback. Literally the day before all the events start for WrestleMania, because WrestleMania is Thursday through Sunday now, because you've got your award shows and all the stuff going on. But this is WrestleMania week, guys. So expect a real big show. Another installment of Mats and Monsters, our wrestling federation. So that's always a good time. We got me and Matt and Steven hanging out for that. And then Thursday, we have our other Allied Adventures game being ran by Jason. It's an SCP Foundation sort of based RPG that me and Jenny and Matt are the players for. So that should be exciting. And then that's it for us this week. Like we have kind of a lighter week this week. No Friday show this week. So make sure you're tuning in. You guys can catch us pretty much, or one of us, all the way up until Thursday night. So always a lot of great shit in store for you guys. And again, if you have any ideas for shows that we're not doing or things you want to see us do on our current show, send up us on Facebook. And honestly, make sure you're liking and subscribing our Facebook, our Twitch, and our YouTube. Those are our big hotspots right now. As soon as we can get those numbers up a little higher, there's a lot more we can do with you guys and for you guys. And you know, that's important. And also, you can hang out with us on our private Discord. We got a Discord for every show, all in one giant, network Discord channel thingy. So join that, talk to us, come hang out. And now we're going to go to our closing. James, UncleNecRo, where can we find you?
Well, you can find me here on the Owlite Network. Like I said, we have the Tomb of the Terrible every other Monday at 9 p.m. Raz Standard Time. And I'm also on the Facebook and the Twitters and the Instagrams. And I have a couple of blogs, well, 3 blogs, and also the Movies and Bear podcast. Just do a Google search for those.
And I understand you're uploading something special tonight.
Oh, yeah. Tonight, right after this, I'm uploading the new NecroShock radio session. It's the last episode of the Mandatory March, where I explore 5 albums from one particular band or artist. It's for all you, it's the brutal music therapy we all enjoy and need.
Awesome. We'll make sure we get links up there for you guys. Ron, where can we find you, man?
There are several places that you can find me, but before I get into that, I want to give a shout out to Cameron, who was in the Facebook chat, and ask him how those chicken tenders were, and did you try them with the sauce? Yeah, I mean, you can find me on Facebook under my author name, Ronald W Gillespie Jr. _author. I'm still selling copies of my new book. I think it's slowed down a little bit since it's now been out for a little bit over a month. But I'm still pushing it, trying to sell some copies. And I also want to plug Fae Propaganda, which is Fae Core's next anthology that's going to be coming out in May. I will have a short story in that, along with Raz and Jenny. I believe both of them will have stories in it as well. And then, of course, we had the Owlite Menagerie. That I'm looking forward to that one as well. I think all of us have.
All of us.
Yeah, all of us.
Amina's got something in there. Jason's got something in there. Adele also. Yeah. Like Steve had Samson's in there.
This will be my debut. So
yeah, I think we got Rob Smales in there. Like,
yeah,
this is a great
all the people that you see on the Owlite Network. A lot of us are going to have stories in that one. And I believe that one is actually selling for charity.
Yeah, it is. We're finalizing all the details for that between this week and next. But yeah, all proceeds are going direct to a literacy foundation.
And then, of course, we have another anthology that will be coming out in the fall. I believe it's already been announced, so they're accepting stories for it now. I believe it's called Nightmare Whiskers. Hopefully, Patty doesn't mind me giving that title away.
Is it?
I don't think so.
I should hopefully have a short story in that one as well. And then, of course, I'm already working on next collection of stories and my novel to come out next February as well. So I've been working, keep up with my author page to find out all those updates. And also my TikTok, Wolf Dojo or Wolf Sensei. I make martial arts content. I just got back from a martial arts seminar yesterday in Michigan. It went really well. I'm already starting to see some videos pop up on TikTok from that where I'm getting thrown around like a rag doll. Very funny stuff. So, yeah, go check that out. And I'll be reposting those videos as I see them. And basically just drop me a line in one of those places on TikTok or Facebook, and I'll get back to you.
Awesome. Saint Friday.
Saint Friday.
Thank you.
Saint Friday.
I'm everywhere on almost all the socials because I can't Snapchat very well, but Facebook, Fake Horror, Owlite Network, Instagram, Clapper, everything, TikTok. I will talk to you on as Owlite Network, as Friday, as Fake Horror, or on Fake Horror you may end up talking to Patty. So but I'm even pretending to be him sometimes.
Yep. Yep. Your finger was going the wrong way, but I know what you mean. I got you.
It seemed
I'm on the
for
other
me,
side
I'm
though.
pointing that way.
Yeah, but you're pointing away from me. You
Yeah,
gotta
on
point
my
the
end,
other
I look
finger.
like I'm pointing that way.
Yeah.
On my
He's right
end,
above me, so all I have to do is this.
for you, I'm pointing that way. For me, I'm pointing that way, which is confusing.
There's down there. There's you. There's you.
It's like that whole stage left, stage right thing when you're on the stage versus when you're in the audience.
Yeah. You pretend to be me. You pretend to be Dell. You pretend to be so many of us, and you're so good at it. People don't even know the difference, man.
On my screen, Raz is on your right.
Do they actually exist, though?
Oh, I'm a figment of everyone's imagination.
Is it all just Friday?
Yeah.
Could be. Every day of the week is Friday.
So, like after the cameras are done rolling, she removes her hand, and you just flap over.
Yep.
And this is all just.
As I was picturing that in my head.
I mean, that's why she has the corpse garden. She just digs us up and uses this for like a year or two until we start to rot and replaces us with new hosts, And
yep,
the whole process begins on a different network with a new name and
like the season 5 episode of
Doctor
Angel
Who story.
Smile Time.
Smile Time. Yeah, basically that's it. She smile timing the shit out of us, man.
Here's the
stuck
smile right here. That's the smile.
But which one of us is prettier, the killer sofa chair, or me?
Well,
You have a better
obviously.
smile.
Yeah,
you are, because you're the one that's moving the puppets,
right?
Yeah.
All hail
the puppet queen,
yes.
Master of puppets.
Yep, exactly.
The
saint of puppets.
Pastor of Muppets.
So as always, you can find me at RazTSlasher.com. You can find me on all the socials where Jenny's pretending to be me. You can find me mostly here on the Elliott Network and things like that. I also have another anthology that I'm getting into beyond the ones that Ron talked about, which I'm in all of those. More Lore for the Mythos looks like it's going back to Kickstarter for Volume 1 and 2 for some special editions of the books. And I got asked to write a new story to include in More Lore for the Mythos 1 because I'm already in Part 2, in Volume 2. So I'm going to be working on that this week to get that done and out there to him as quick as possible.
Yeah.
Super excited to team back up with everybody on that one. And of course, and that's it, really. I mean, I've got other stuff coming out this year, but I'm not ready to talk about it yet because I'm still, no novels this year, though. We're going to do a novella and some other shit, but no novels.
Fingers in the pie.
Yeah, lots going on. But I will be completing the Riverside, the Silence is Crimson trilogy next year is when book 3 comes out. And I may or may not have been working on that recently. And in my urban fantasy novel, book 1. Ooh. So yeah, I'm toying around with some shit. I'm working on it. But more recently, Oak Peak. You can find Oak Peak on Reddit. Just type in Oak Peak on Reddit. I just joined that collective recently. I'm going to be doing a lot of video work for them starting later this week. And I'm going to be playing their resident DJ. So I'm super excited to kind of... And owls are a big thing in Oak Peak. So, I'm going to be talking about owls and things a lot. So, tie-in promotions. But, that should be a lot of fun. So make sure you're keeping an eye out for Oak Peak on Reddit. But, I got nothing else for you guys. So thanks for showing up and sticking around again. Thank you, Bernie, for being the awesome human being you are and reminding all of us how much love truly goes into any film, man. We appreciate you. So, yeah.
We definitely
good night.
appreciate that.
Get the fuck out of here. What are you still here for? Huh?